Okay, thank you everyone for joining us this evening in our final summer meeting. We get back to the real world coming up, right?
Yep.
Next item on our agenda is approving our minutes. We have any additions or deletions? We have none, so I have a motion to approve the printed minutes. Move. Shelley, a second.
Second.
Roll call for approval.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swallow,
Yes. Next item is approving the July 9th minutes. Have a motion to approve.
come in.
And Maria, and a second. Second.
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Biesecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes. Next is our administrative reports. Maria, do you have any updates?
I have one thing, next week, the 20th, they are doing open house and schedule pickup for the valley, from 12 to 7. So that's their first day cut off for themselves. But that's all I have.
That's it. Anybody have any questions for Maria? Now, Joe, you have the administrative update, please.
I have a few things here to share. We are changing the roles, vote, and those are all listed there with coordinator, decision makers, and investigators. We are also changing the liaison for homeless from Michelle to Bob, and change the anti-harassment compliance officer from Michelle to Bob. And so we'll have something for you at the next board meeting for our first reading, and then that'll be accepted, hopefully, if everything goes well at the next one in October. Our greenhouse, the small one, you guys have all seen pictures of that already. We got pictures or drawings back and such. That will take some time, but it's getting at least in sight at this point. And then I don't want to steal the thunder of these guys, so I'll fill in gaps later on. But the only other thing that I wanted to share with you today is the solar and roof project. We thought tonight we would be able to have all that stuff ready for you. There were still some questions going back and forth with legal about different aspects of it. We thought that rather than rushing into finding something that was missing or that was looked over, we wanted to make sure that we had enough time to digest what was there. There were some suggestions made by our legal team today, got sent to their legal team to look over and those type of things. So things weren't week or week after, and get that taken care of with some time to actually read through all those red line items. That way everybody's on the same page, there's no surprises, and we don't have any issues down the road. So that's why we scratched off the agenda. If anybody saw the agenda before this afternoon, those two items were on there, but we have removed the two items but left the acceptance of the 500 per day. That will allow us to supply or attain a contractor for the roof without the competitive bidding process. So those two items were left on, but everything else was removed. So that's all I have for my report, other than I'm looking forward to school starting soon. Day one. Yep. Day one. Yep. So, and we did have the option to wait until January 1st as the law shows.
Exactly.
Why do a change?
I thought that's what I wrote up, so.
Right. It makes sense to start fresh at the beginning of the year.
Yes.
So I can't imagine you're going to start in January after they've already had it.
It's already been voted on, it's set in stone, it's not going to change, so you might as well just go.
Easier for me to do it now than to
Yes.
change later.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just great. I think it's great.
Agreed.
Were you going to reach out about this in the future?
Yes.
When we get
As
it cleared up?
soon as we hear from the attorneys and everything's clear, I'm going to say Wednesday next week would be the ideal, but it may be the Wednesday following.
You'll let us know.
Is that available if it's Wednesday next week? I didn't even talk to you, Carla, if that's. We
That
talked
would be
on
the
phone.
20th.
The 20th.
Yeah, I'm available the 20th or 27th.
It is our open house night. I don't know if that plays into it or not, but
Could you do it right before, so then when we go, it's only gonna take a few minutes.
I mean, it's-
That day.
an open house is 5 to 7. So, I mean, we could even do it during and then go out and wander if you want to do that.
whichever.
I'm good with whatever.
Carla, do you have any?
Just permits are all in place for this year. We got word the other day that we received a grant for endpoint software for which we've been wanting for quite a while because our insurance wants us to have endpoints. Mr. Biesecker got a strange email today, but I've been getting one daily that I've been suspicious of, and every time I send it to Cody to have it vetted, the last one came from Japan. So I think we're going to have to make sure because I'm very cautious over it. But even at times, got this grant from 2023. We just got notice of it this week, and we thought the grant was totally dead. So it's to us. So that's been a positive. It's a negative that we're having these situations. It's a positive that we're going to be able to. It's a great job. And so I think that we'll keep everything in check. Been working on grants, trying to get some things settled. We have a lot going on with those and been filing reports. Do you care if I show this?
Please do.
Joe and I went to Greenville to a meeting today where we were very fortunately grant recipients. And one of the things that we try to plan our trips accordingly, and this is going to be what there's some scribbles on there, but that will be the electric van. We're getting it dressed, and all the vans will be very similar so that we can have some branding on that finally. And that's great. Kind of excited about it. And with that, I'm going to conclude my report.
Well, any questions? Thank you very much. Yes, do you have anything?
Yeah, just real quick. I feel like because you wouldn't hire them otherwise, but now that they're here, I couldn't be happier with what I've seen with Jody, Chris Hunter tonight for our nurse. Excited about that. So we're getting a lot of really good quality people coming here, which really makes me happy. And that's what you want. Going into this school year, our main focus is going to be pacing guides and curriculum mapping. It's not real exciting, but it's one of those things that is really needed in order to continually improve as a district. You can show a lot of gaps. You can show, if we're overlapping a lot of different curriculum. And it also gives the teachers a guide, a hefty goal, but I would like a lot of our classes that we teach to be completed by the end of the year. So we're going to use all of our professional development throughout the course of the year to work on these things. And the other thing that it does too is if you have to hire a new science teacher, God forbid Brian leaves, but you can give that pacing guide to that teacher and now they know where it is truly something that will drive your instruction and give you, all of the things that you need. Because you're not going to know on every given day, but you can pull that out, see it, and know, yep, that's where I need to be. I'm on track. I'm not on track. Those types of things.
Sounds good. Is that something that's common among districts?
It's very common among districts. It's something that I had talked about doing a couple of years ago, but I didn't think we were quite ready for it at that time. I think we're there. I think we're continuing to see some growth in our state test scores. I'm seeing growth in the classrooms. So to me, this is kind of the next step.
You have to have a framework to grow from.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to know where you're at.
Yeah, in fact, I left the report. You guys can follow along since we didn't have the PowerPoint. Starting off, these are the enrollment numbers as of yesterday. I don't think we had anybody come in today, but I was kind of excited to see that last year we had a total of 257 elementary kids. This year we have a total of 272. So our class sizes are growing. We have some pretty big classes. Both kindergarten, first grade, and fourth grade all have 46. I graduated a long time ago with a class of 41. So I know our enrollment a number of years ago had kind of went down a little bit. It's kind of nice to see it going back up. The second thing is LifeWise. We are keeping everything exactly the same. LifeWise K, 1, 2, and 3. As you guys know, third grade is a tested grade. And one of the things that I wanted to do is to make sure that our students were continuing to get what they needed to be successful in those tests. So when I originally talked in the spring with Rebecca's staff, the test scores hadn't come back yet because we did paper and pencil. They take a little bit longer than the other tests. But even with 1 year's data, I would like to see a couple years' data to make that determination. I've had good communication with Rebecca. She doesn't necessarily agree with this. She wants to continue to see the program grow. But I think she understands where I'm coming from. But we had a good conversation the other day. Miss Betty was in there with me. We're actually going to try to streamline communications, have more regular meetings so we can keep them up to date with what's going on. They've adopted Class Dojo, which we use in the elementary for communication. They've adopted that as a communication tool so they can have better communication with their parents. They're starting to look at it out of our students when those students are at Likewise. So we're going to continue to have a relationship with them. We're going to continue to look at it. And then as we get the data, we start looking at that data over the next year, then we'll come back around and make the determination as to whether or not we're ready to make that next step in fourth grade.
So explain to me what data you're looking for, because they're not teaching your kids. They shouldn't help them do better for testing.
I'm not so much worried about them doing better. I don't want them to start to slip. So I'm looking for data as, okay, now that we're losing instruction time.
But we're not.
Well, it's intervention. We're losing intervention time with those students that our students are slipping. That's the data though.
Because I thought they were being taken out of extras. They were not coming out of any academic.
It's intervention time that they're being taken. So those students who stay behind get that extra intervention. That the students who go don't get.
So we're not taking them out of extras.
What classes are they being pulled from?
They're being pulled from intervention.
Yeah, see, that was not, when we first met with them, they were supposed to come out of phys ed, art, those classes, not any instruction.
It's not direct instruction, it's intervention.
I know, but it's still education. I think when we said we were doing this, it was going to be taken out of art, phys ed, those type of things. When did we change it?
I didn't, that wasn't my decision, that's what Mrs. Lady did. I'm going off of what she had set up. So
We've always done that?
I think so. I know one grade, I think his second grade goes during March.
Yeah, no, it was third grade last year.
Was it third
They
grade?
said third grade last year they got during lunch.
Okay, I
So
thought,
they had to pick them up, they would eat their lunch
Yeah.
with them and then send them back.
and in a perfect world, even Rebecca and I have talked, it'd be great if we can do that for every class, but unfortunately, we only have a window from quarter to 11 to 11:20 where all of our students are having lunch. Now, if they have the volunteers that are able to take all those students out.
She would be in third. So maybe when she started, we started with was it kindergarten or first grade?
We started with first grade and then I think we went down to second grade.
But then I thought we were just taking them out of you had to sign a paper saying you agreed for them to come out of their specialists. I don't think anytime we were told it was out of instructional time. I want them out of the extras, not instructional time. So I see what you're looking at data now.
And I think possibly where the interpretation is Mrs. Lady saw the specials as also instruction time because they're getting instruction in there. So she set some time in the schedule and doing nothing. They were getting an intervention, but these students would not be missing direct instruction. So they're not
we're
necessarily,
looking at the third grade then, that you're gonna,
double check with her. She told me that it was second grade.
they felt like some of the kids that were really struggling, now this year with
Yeah.
being going into fourth grade, and they were in third class.
And that's the other thing, seeing growth across the board, and it shows that LifeWise is working. I'm not doing this because I don't want LifeWise not to work, but I have a responsibility for the academic, of the students. And unfortunately, in the state of Ohio, academics is judged by test scores.
Yeah, I
And-
agree with that, but when they came and did a demonstration to us, they never talked about any intervention. They only asked to take the kids, and we talked about, oh, that's good, take them out of their extras. We didn't think they were being taken out in certain time, and we never told them what to do.
Okay, well, and like I said, it could be that Mrs. Lady interpreted instruction time as the specials as well, because they are getting instruction, whether it's music, PE, or art. And we believe that those subjects have a worth, or else we wouldn't be doing it. So we try to create some time in which those students would not miss any direct instruction. So the time that they're
It's probably the best time to do it. If you don't need intervention, that's probably the best time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's the best time.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
there's not
that's-
intervention, so,
Yeah.
but the kids that need it, they need it.
And that's,
Yeah.
So what
No.
they're doing is great.
Some of them are going.
no, some of them are
They're
wrong. So
going.
that's one of them.
The ones that do need intervention?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't,
Listen,
they take the kids,
okay.
whoever signs up. So if they sign up, they go.
That would be my own question. Yeah, any kid that needs intervention, you say, fine, you don't qualify for
And,
this.
and the other concern I have, and I've shared this with Rebecca, is, I'm going to bring up later. We had the science reading. We talked to you guys about the science reading. This spring, State Department came out with their equivalent with math. I'm in the process. In fact, today I spent about an hour going through that, trying to figure out what that means for us. But if they're going to eventually require intervention time for math like they do reading, I don't know where we'll find time to carve into to make sure everything's covered. So what they're missing is extra intervention time. If they're getting intervention time because they have to, we're making sure that's covered. So what we've done is we've kind of carved out a special time. I have it. Mhm.
You got 200 kids. What are they doing?
And I don't know. I mean, like I said, Mrs. Lady set everything up. That wasn't my thing that I handled as an assistant principal. And I very much decided to try to keep as much the same as possible, rather than start changing things and find out that I made a bunch of mistakes by changing things. It is something I'm definitely going to look at throughout the year. And like I said, I'm going to share the data with LifeWise. There's no secrets between us and them. And I'm trying to work very closely with them, because the community obviously sees this as something important. I mean, we have a lot of students go to LifeWise. So
That's what I was gonna ask, what percentage of students are enrolled? Like,
I
the
could
majority?
I couldn't tell you. I would say probably half, if not. I mean, I've walked into classes before during that intervention time, and there might be 4 or 5 kids in there. So I would say the majority of the students are there.
I mean, I do think it's a great program too, but I totally thought they were doing it during gym, art, was that?
I mean, I'll go back and check.
I
But
never thought ever was.
I was under the impression that it was done during their intervention. I know one grade was lunch. Like I said, Cheryl told me, because I checked with her this morning, she told me it's like lunch more often because, now we did have an issue where we had some students upset that they were going to LifeWise and they missed recess. But that's what's going to happen. I mean,
Yeah.
Can't have her cake and eat it too,
Yeah.
I guess. So.
Yeah, I would definitely, doing it during the specials, like, because I thought that was our only option. Like, they said they don't teach them around math, they don't teach them English, anything like that, would be out of those, and their parents would have to sign saying they didn't want to participate in that, they wanted to do that. So I just didn't know it changed ever, I just thought it was only during those periods.
And I may be wrong, but that was what my impression was. So I know I've walked into classrooms before where they were doing intervention with the kids that were left behind. So.
Okay.
Bob, excuse me, Bob, is there an opportunity to find out what other districts are doing? So we kind of know.
Yeah, we can look at that. I mean, we can.
I think, if they're going to fifth grade and we're going to, or they're going only first, we're doing more.
Yeah.
We may need to make sure that we're matching the standard in our community, which is set by our peers. And then what are they doing as far as how are they going to get with the new schedule? Because a lot of them have, like, the sales has much higher academic scores than we have.
Right.
So they've navigated how to be successful. And as you guys know, as educators, there's much more than education than just books.
Right.
So we want to make sure we give our kids great opportunity. I think I, as importantly, would like to know where we fit in that landscape.
Right.
And how do we compare, what are the other schools doing? Kind of like Chris told us that we're moving with the instructional plan, which is what everybody else is doing.
Right. And those are some things that I want to find out. That's one of the reasons why, this was actually, and I had advice from Michelle, and I even talked to Mr. Hurst about making the decision to bump it up to fourth grade. And, but it was kind of like one of my first big decisions, and I would rather err on not sending those kids than sending those kids and finding out that we have to re-examine what this looks like.
But you have to realize that with open enrollments, we're all equally competitive.
Mhm.
So we're going to offer the same services that every district do. If we're offering too much, maybe we can focus, but I think if you could circle back with us and let us kind of know where we set in that world, I think that's kind of what you guys do, but I think it'd be nice to know, are we in the norm, are we out of the norm, are we 10%, are we 90%?
Right.
So I think that would be helpful for us
No,
to see where we
I can definitely do that. That's what I'm saying. I did talk to you at admin meetings, just that's how they're doing it. Yeah. So moving along, first, some more good news is our third grade students this year everyone was able to be promoted. In order to be promoted, you either have to pass a language art assessment, we use Terra Nova, or pass the third grade reading test. We just, late last week, early this week, got the test results back from the summer testing. I haven't had a chance to dive down into them. I did look at the scores. We even had a couple kids who ended up passing that test with a 700, which now allows them to be moved from the reading improvement plan. So we were kind of excited to see that. We do have one student who moved into the district that did not qualify at his old school, so we'll have to do some intensive instructional intervention with him. But other than that, that was the only student. So we are doing a special program with the Miami County Park Service. It's called the Hug the Pollinator Program. What this does is it fits into place with what they normally do with the Miami County Park Service. This program rotates around from school district to school district each year. This just happened to be our year for it. I wish it wasn't our year for it, but I also didn't want to have the students miss out on this opportunity. It wouldn't remove them from the class any more than what they were already doing for the Park Service presentations that they do. It's just a different focus than what the students normally do. One of the things that's part of this is they are putting in a wildflower garden on the south side of the building, basically kind of in that area where the old FFA tomato boxes were made with their plants. So we'll have some nice south side. So we'll have some nice wildflowers there. So, and they're going to be coming out of recess and working with the kids on watering the garden and weeding the flowers and stuff like that for the kids who want to be involved in that. We're wrapping up summer school this week. We've had 4 weeks. We had 2 in June, 2 in July. 2 in August. We've had an average of about 12 kids. It's very, we're going to take a look at summer school and how we do it to try to figure out a way to increase the attendance for next year. That's one of the things that we and the summer school teachers decide we'll meet next week to talk about. But I do want to thank our teachers, Mrs. Fry did a good job. I didn't put this on there, but at the end of July, we also had Jumpstart. We had a pretty good turnout. I didn't get the numbers for that, but I would say it's probably over 20 students, if not more. I mean, there was a lot of kids there. They were excited. And that was done by the two kindergarten teachers and the kindergarten teacher. And then finally, I just kind of have some kind of what I'm looking at this year. We've been doing literacy, science, and reading since 2017, 2018. We think it's been a successful program, but we never really took a look at the data to determine if it was over the long period. We look at the data from year to year, but not from the beginning. So I'm going to gather a literacy team. We're going to take a look at that. We're also going to update our literacy plan, determine if it's working, if it's not working, how to fix it. If it is working, figure out how to strengthen those areas even more. Since we've talked about those, I kind of mentioned the science. We're calling it the science map, but it's not called that. But there's definitely some math initiatives coming down the pike from the state. We were ahead of the ball with literacy. I want to be ahead of the ball with math. It's up at the end of this year. So we want to make sure that whatever math curriculum we purchase is in league with what the state's coming down. So those are two things that we're going to be focusing on from the academic side. And then the other thing that we're going to focus on is PBIS. And I'm actually going to turn it over to Jody on this part because she's heading the PBIS initiative at the elementary. So I'll let her.
Like Bob said, he asked me to try to help out with PBIS because it's something I've done at 2 different school districts. I'm pretty familiar with it. I had some. Fortunately for Bradford, they have a lot of pieces that are in place. They just don't have the whole system in place yet. And so PBI stands for Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports. It is a statewide initiative. Well, actually, it's almost a nationwide initiative because you can look at any state and see how they're doing PBIS. I just put this together because I didn't want to talk a lot, but I wanted you to be able to walk away with something just to have a gist of what it is. What I'm most excited about from PBIS is that, you have a set expectation of rules, you go over with the kids, you review them at the beginning of the year. The classroom teachers have some expectations that they have. Typically, this is meant for K through 3. We're probably just going to go ahead and do K through 5 because it doesn't hurt kids to be constantly reinforced with making positive decisions. So this program really just tries to set their expectations, make sure students are engaged with it. The acknowledgement of appropriate behaviors is the key. At first, teachers will feel like, gosh, I feel like I have to try to remember to acknowledge kids' positive behaviors because we're so used to addressing things that are not going well. But what they will find is once they get a little rhythm and it becomes a habit, those kids really start to thrive off that positive recognition. So that's what we want to try to implement to make sure that kids are feeling recognized, that we're creating the most positive culture that we can. The other piece with that is, how you respond to inappropriate years of experience. I can give people some good suggestions with that. It doesn't come first nature with most people. You get frustrated, you react a certain way. And then, of course, with what is expected, you have a tendency to start to change the culture of your. So that's what we're going to try to focus on. I don't really want to talk too much about classroom practices, because that's basically what you said. It's really a system. It's not a program. Our system could look a little bit different than someone else's system, but data. Well, how do you collect it? Well, you do collect it. We hope to implement like a point system through Class Dojo. So when a kid is recognized, they get a point. And we're going to put some things in place that they can redeem those points, so to speak. That's a data collection process right there. In a perfect world, we'd love to have like a 5-to-1 ratio of positive recognition versus inappropriate choices. So, somewhere around there would be our goal eventually. And kids are going to feel a lot different about school as well, which I hope will help with attendance as well. Sometimes we have some issues with attendance. So we just have to be smart about how we're doing it. Also data looking at which kids seem to be continuing to make inappropriate decisions and how we go about, putting some things in place to intervene with that, to help teachers figure out, gosh, I feel like I've tried everything. that's where a tier 2 team comes in, to try to get some suggestions, to try some new things for kids, see what might work. So those things are all part of PBIS. Again, acknowledging appropriate behaviors is much faster a change agent than hammering down on kids. That doesn't mean that they're not going to have any boundaries for kids. You're not going to have some non-negotiables for kids who really just do some things that is very inappropriate, but we're going to try to focus on the positive. We did kind of, Bob and I talked about an implementation, quarter one, just kind of get a PBIS team together, establish school-wide expectations, which we'll just need to review that because they're already kind of set with their 5 R's. Set up a class dojo system, schedule like what we call a school store, and start collecting the data. And then quarter two, you can start looking at that data and seeing where we're at, engaging, where we need to make adjustments, and which kids really need some more interventions and supports for their behavior. So that's the gist of it. I just thought this might be something you could take home and take a look at. The last 2 pages are directly off, OBE's websites and things like that. And gives you an understanding of tier 1, 2, and 3 and how they kind of work with it. So.
Sounds encouraging.
Questions for that?
Sounds encouraging. But
Just a question back to Bob on summer school. So if we only had 12 this year, how does that compare to previous years?
It's been down. One of the things that we talked about is the 2-month, we were breaking it up, and we were wondering whether or not maybe parents who can't send their kids in June don't think their kids can come in August, and that's not the case. So we're going to take a look at maybe trying to do it in August. The amount of kids that showed up, I think Katie said there was only 1 kid who needed to take the summer test that even showed up for summer school. So the original idea was to get them in June. Those kids who need that extra intervention get it, take the test in June. She did say that she would be willing to come in and work with some students who wanted that in June, but try to set up summer school in August as we get closer to kind of maybe that might increase the number. So we are down. I'm not sure what it was last year, but I do know we are down. Years past.
Okay.
And that's average. Unfortunately, we've got kids showing up one day, not the next day. So.
Any other questions? Next, the public participation in kind of section set aside, right? The IDA projects, kind of 1, kind of 2 projects. And you can see in the agenda that there's actually contracted 1. We have the 1.
Any input?
Good answer. The next item on our agenda is the financial report from the treasurers, item 1 through 13. Anybody get a high level overview what you'd like us to do with this evening?
Yes, most certainly. We have the financial journal, the check register, and the then and now certifications for the month, transfers and advances for the month. We didn't really have anything. Permanent appropriations are in place. We have an MOU for Midwest Regional ESC, a depository agreement, which is a standard with Park National. And then predominantly these are grants for the various trips as stated in the number. One of these is for a scholarship. And then there are a couple of donations.
There's a motion to approve items up for us. The move. Thanks, Trey. A second.
A second.
Thanks, Lori. Any questions for Stella? Items
What do we use the
discussed?
Midwest CRC for?
This is the memorandum of
For
understanding.
this one, it is they helped us apply for a grant that will subsidize tuition for teachers that want to go back and get credentialed to teach college credit plus classes. So it pays for the rest of their tuition. So they go to school for free. That's for profit.
Any other items to discuss? If not, a roll call to approve.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker, Mr. Manuel.
Yes.
We have no old business from this evening, but we do have new business items that are listed. Superintendent would like us to approve. Can you give us an overview of what you'd like us to approve this evening?
Certainly, since this is posted online, I'm going to go through the high points here. Obviously, we've got some sad people, or I shouldn't say sad people. It's sad to see some people leaving. It's exciting to see the people that are coming in. You'll see the list of them there. Right now, our only positions that are still open is the aide position. And we are also going to be searching out for substitute nurses and substitute bus drivers. So anybody watching want to be a sub nurse or a sub bus driver, please let us
The
know.
aid position?
Yes.
Posted, yes.
Didn't see that, sorry.
The number 4, we're going to jump down there, the job description for the assistant principal. We talk about different duties as the job has evolved. So that is, you guys have seen that. I will share that out with everybody else here as soon as that is hopefully approved tonight. We're finally getting a credit card machine here in the district. We will be using it in the office. We'll have one that can be transferred front office, back office, that sort of thing if we need to. But we can also use it out here for tickets, for football games, basketball games, volleyball games, that sort of thing. The boosters, athletic boosters are also looking into that and want to order 2 more credit card machines so we can use those at concession stands and keep that going with, not cash, which is great. I'm going to implement a 2% fee on that. So minimum of $1, so up to $50. A $50 charge, it would be $1. Anything over that, it would be 2%, obviously. Petty cash, some other things here with tuition. Number 9, we're going to have to identify a delegate and an alternate for the OSBA business meeting on November 17th coming up. So that'll have to be voted on here soon as well. And then the next one is the in lieu of resolution that we have every year, but we've only used it once since I've been here, since 2017. Activity budgets, tuition contracts, which is excess costs and threshold costs, home instruction, prime vendor rights for the EPC gives us a school. And then last one, we would like to make our nurse position go from part-time to full-time. So that's something I'm kind of excited to share.
Questions? How would that look? What would a new full-time position?
They'll be here all day, start of the school day to the end of the school day, plus a little bit outside of that. So it's an 8-hour day. They'll be here 5 days a week, minus holidays and vacations and that sort of thing. So basically, anytime the kids are in the building, we will have a nurse in the building.
Remind me what we had before. I forgot.
The existing schedule was 144 days,
44 days.
which meant that Monica was here for 4 days a week. She always had Wednesdays off. And then she was only here part of the day each day. So it was, I think she left at like 1:30 or 2.
It was a 6 and a quarter day.
6 hour and a quarter
6
day.
hour and a quarter day.
So this will stretch it out the remaining day.
Okay.
Yes.
Did we replace Tabitha or we're not? Because you said we're only.
At this point, we are not. In fact, we have 3 openings that we consider going back and forth, which would be a retirement as an aide. If we move on with that one, and what was our third one? Is it just 2?
Literacy coach, aide, and then full-time nurse.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we said, let's make that nurse move up because we're not sure at this point. We need to replace the literacy coach. We were talking about different alternatives for that position. So right now, no, we are not replacing that position.
Any other questions? Any discussion or questions? Run roll call for approval, please.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes.
All right, the next ones here, I'm going to go just a little bit slower with these. The next one is for the $500,000 grant that we got through the Ohio Department of Development for the solar project. This $500,000 grant will offset this project significantly. And we said if we weren't getting the grant, then we would not be doing the project. Now, by agreeing to it tonight, it's a reimbursable thing. It doesn't lock us into the actual project. So if we vote on it tonight and it passes and we don't do the solar project, we're still not out anything, but we intend that everything's going to come back from the attorneys and everything will be fine with that. The next one is the basically to allow us to join the interlocal purchasing system, also called TIPS. It's a cooperative purchasing, just like the EPC or some of the other ones that we're involved with. The roofing contract that we've been working with and giving us the best quotes that we've seen is a member of TIPS. And by going through TIPS, we would not have to do a competitive bid process. And then the last one, if we figure out we need it or we get into deep water here, we've been talking to a very, very, very knowledgeable person about solar and about roofing. And he's given us some very good tips about going into this project and making sure that we get the best bang for our buck. So if we get into a pickle, we'd like to be able to call him and say, hey, we'll pay you for being oversight for this contract or this project or whatever, and give him a little bit of money up to, we said $5,000. So it's not written in here, but it definitely won't go over $5,000.
Motion to approve.
I move to
And a second.
second.
Any questions regarding the details?
I do want to add something because I know we talked about it at the time, but that was back in June of last year. The state of Ohio offered $2 million of these grants. We received $500,000. We were one of 4 people in the state to have received this grant. So it's quite an honor to get this grant. There are days when we wonder if it was an honor because it's been a time-consuming process to make sure that we got the best bang for our buck, that we're doing the right thing for the district. And the one thing about it is we're looking at AES looking at 14% increases in utility costs. I think it's a very timely project. And because we have it in the hopper, we're going to be able to take advantage of all the tax credits and everything at full value. Those are going away at the end of this year. So this, we have had to give this a considerable amount of attention. For this time of year, it's been kind of difficult, but I think it's a very worthy project and I'm pretty excited about it.
Chris, any other?
I know it's been.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Another project, another effort to
Didn't have anything else.
another amount of, another grant. For Excellent. Roll call for approval.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Biesecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes.
Next item is a motion for executive session.
Dr.
No,
Manuel. That's what I'm talking about.
I knew it was coming.
It's too late right now.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second.
Second.
Thanks. Roll call for executive session.
Mrs. Hill,
You thought we were leaving.
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Yeah.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Biesecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes.
You've got the move.
I got 719.
There'll be no action taken after the executive session. Thanks, everybody.